All right, welcome everybody to day 2 of Computer Science 40. Today we are going to write our first program, which is a long-time computer science tradition called Hello World. It's not the most exciting program, but the real focus of today is to get you to a point where you can log on the server, you can edit a file, compile it, get comfortable with Unix, get comfortable with a text editor we use in this class, which is called Vim, which is the world's best text editor for programming, essentially. Anyone who says otherwise, generally speaking, has never used Vim, or not enough to actually learn it. So we're going to do that. We're going to get you on the server and write your first program, and that's about it for today. So everybody, please go to PuTTY and log yourself in, and let me make this a little smaller here. Okay. What you're going to see here is something called a command line. A command line looks like something out of a hacker movie. It looks like something out of the 70s and 80s and is hopelessly out of date and, not something that a modern programmer would use. But the reality of the situation is basically experienced programmers vastly prefer the command line to using a graphical interface. There's some times where graphical interfaces are more useful, like when you're designing graphical interfaces, right? Like, being able to see it is actually kind of nice. But for code, we work with text, and so having a text interface is really nice. Like, in the previous class, a student came in and was like, hey, could you look at my username for me? And so I went over here and, did this, and immediately, in one split second, I was able to search through all the files in this directory, find the class, find the last name, user ID, that kind of stuff in just a blink of an eye. That's the kind of thing you can do when you know Unix, when you know the command line interface. There is just so much more power, and you can do things so much more quickly using the command line than a graphical interface. The graphical interface, you're limited to the options the people who made the graphical interface give you, right? So if I were to fire up, like OneNote here or something, these are the options that I have: delete a section, rename a section, move copy, color the section, and that's it, right? Like, there's just a few things here, and whatever they decide, these buttons here, whatever they decide to give me access to, that's what I can do. With the command line, you're basically unrestricted in the kinds of things you can do and the combinations of things you can do, and oftentimes you can do things very, very quickly using the command line that would take hours, if not days, to do using a graphical interface. Not always, but a lot of times. So that's what we're going to learn today. So we're going to start off with the very, very most basic, most important command in Unix, and that is ls. ls is short for list. And ls, that's not a 1, that's an L. ls, what is the host name again? csi4x.com. So you're going to connect to csi4x.com. And it is your last name underscore user ID as your name and password to begin with. So once you're logged in, I'd like for you all to type ls, and it's going to show you all of the files and folders that are within your current directory. You can see I've got a lot of stuff in here. You're not going to see as much. I periodically clean up my my home directory, and then periodically clutter it up as well. So you're going to have probably just one folder in your directory. So if I were to become a student, this is what you're going to see if you type ls. If you don't see that, let me know. But you should see that. Give me a thumbs up on Discord if when you type ls, you see that you have, in fact, one folder inside of your directory called Hello World. That's what we're going to be working on today. Cool. Thumbs up with a thumbs up react on it. All right. And since this is not in person, when I'm in person, I can walk around and look over the shoulder of everybody and make sure that you're all logged in and seeing and doing the right thing. If you are online, I don't have that same ability to do it. So you're going to have to be proactive. If you get stuck, if you don't know what's going on, if your thing freezes or something, let me know. Or let Mincrelli know, or just post on the chat channel. That's what it's there for, and we will get you unstuck. What I absolutely do not want you doing is just sitting there staring blankly at a screen while the thing's frozen, right? Like if I hit Control S stops the current process. Control S does not save. Control S stops the current process until you hit Control Q, of course, and then all of the text comes in. And so a lot of people try and do that. They just instinctively hit Control S, and then it stops their terminal. And then they're like, why is nothing happening when I'm hitting the keys? So if that happens, post on the chat channel. Please do not stare blankly at your screen going like, are you guys with me on this? Like, it's really important because there's a disconnect when you're teaching online. That it's you just are going to have to be proactive and like say what's going on. And like maybe screenshot it. If you hit Windows key Shift S, you can screenshot things and then you can paste them on Discord like that. So it's Windows key Shift S, and then you can post it on Discord so we can see what you're looking at. All right. So first command, ls. We'll even make some. I'll use OneNote. Why not? OneNote is such a good program. Let's see here. Let's make a new folder. Such group called fall view. Whatever. Seaside 40 fall. Got a page here. This is called Unix Notes. So Unix is the world's most popular operating system. A lot of people think it is Windows, but it's not. If you just look at the number of users of something, Unix. Can I make it bigger? Come on. Nice big. Unix is the world's most popular family, let's say, of operating systems. Not Windows. And there's a lot of different varieties and versions and flavors of Unix. Linux or GNU/Linux or GNU plus Linux, as I've come to call it recently, is what we're using. It's a variant of Unix. There's many others: AIX, IRIX, Solaris, HPUX. There's tons and tons of variants of Unix. We're using what most people call Linux for it. Okay. Knowing Unix is worth a 5% pay bump. So if you look at the salaries of people in tech, if you know Unix, on average they make 5% more than other people. Given tech pays pretty well as it is, well, there you go. So translates into money. So I think it's worth a class. We're going to spend today basically learning Unix and Vim and the basics of C++, the most basic basics of C++. Okay. Okay. So ls lists files and folders in your directory. cd changes directory. And so you do that by typing cd, and then you type the name of the folder. Okay. And if you don't want to type the whole name, check this out. Hit tab. Okay. So all you have to do is type the first couple letters, hit tab, and then it fills in the rest of the name for you. Super useful. Tab completion is life. Hit tab. Sure. I'm just going to call it Unix. It's not the most accurate thing. It's technically the Unix shell, but whatever. Bash or TCCH, whatever. Okay, you guys understand? So type cd and type the name of the folder. The slash is optional. You don't need to type the slash. If I typed it without the slash, it'll be fine. The slash indicates it's a folder. Front slash is what we use for folders in Unix-like systems. And what you'll see is that you are now inside of the Hello World directory. So this is like double-clicking on a folder in Windows or Mac, where you're now inside of a folder. So the prompt here tells you which folder you're in. If it's a tilde, the INYE, the shift, top left button on your keyboard, the cheat code key, whatever you want to call it, that is your home directory. Okay, so that is the directory that when you log in, that's the directory you're in. Your home directory currently has one folder in it called Hello World. And then when you type Hello World, you are now inside of CD Hello World. You are now inside of the Hello World directory. And so if you type ls again, you will see that there is now other stuff. So let me... This is what you should be seeing. Okay. You should see that there's a single file in there called main.cc, and that is what we're about to edit. Okay. If you type cd by itself and hit return, it takes you back to your home directory. Okay. If you type cd ... that takes you up one directory. So you can see we're actually now one directory up from our home directory. We can go up one more level. And now we're in like the file system root directory. No matter where you are, if you hit cd by itself and hit return, that takes you back to your home directory. Okay? And I want you all to be within Hello World. Cd up, cd Hello World. Okay, whatever. So that's how you can navigate around. Cd by itself takes you home. Cd ... goes up a directory level. Cd, and then the name of a folder goes into a directory. At the end of the day, I want you here. Any questions about this? CD and ls are the way you navigate around inside of a Unix file system. ls shows you what's within the directory. CD allows you to change directories into a subdirectory, into a parent directory, into your home directory, things like that. Any questions? CD tilde will also take you home. CD hyphen takes you back into the last directory you were in. There's all sorts of cool tips and tricks and shortcuts when working with Unix shells like this. Nothing? You guys all cool? You're all within the Hello World directory? All right. If you go past the directory you need, is there a way to go down? Yeah, you type in, like, let's say that there was a subdirectory here or something. Nectar, whatever. And you go into it. You see I'm in the subdirectory of Hello World. If you go too far, you can go back up one. And if you want to go back down into it, CD back down into it. All right, so we are now going to learn how to edit text files using the world's best text editor for coding. Let's make this Unix plus Vim notes. That over there. So we are going to type Vim and then file name to edit file name in Vim. So this is how you edit a file, in a text file in our server. There are simpler to use text editors, but in years past, I had students first learn on the basic text editors, and then I would teach them Vim later. And they'd be like, you should have just taught us Vim to begin with. It's kind of like trying to write your doctorate in like Notepad. Otherwise, like, it's just like, why didn't you teach me about LaTeX or, Lord help you, Microsoft Word? Like, why did you make me write my doctorate in Notepad, right? So I'm like, okay, fine. So we're going to learn Vim out of the gate. And Vim, to be fair, has a bit of a learning curve. It's not that big a learning curve, and you will be quickly-ish become proficient enough at it to use it like a text editor. And then over the years, you will learn more and more stuff about Vim and become more powerful in it. And basically, nobody who knows Vim would ever consider anything else for doing their coding needs. It is so good. Anytime I code in like Visual Studio without installing the Vim plugin for it, it just feels like walking in quicksand. Like it's just so slow. Like I can't code as quickly as my brain can think. You know. You forgot your password. Okay. And we're resuming after fixing a couple login attempt errors. Okay. So how do you edit a file, a text file? We use Vim. Vim stands for VI Improved. VI is a old school text editor made by a guy by the name of Bill Joy, who went on to like become one of the founders of Sun Microsystems, which was one of the biggest tech companies in the world. They made Java, for example, until they went under and got bought out by Oracle, which is now going under, maybe. We'll see. VI stands for visual, because it was a visual interface to Ed, which was the original text editor, which, yeah, it doesn't fill up the whole screen. Ed allows you to change one line at a time. And so visual mode allows you to see all the text on the screen. How amazing is that? So that's where VI came from, and then Vim was made by a guy named Bram Moolenaar. That's Moolenaar. Sorry, Bram Moolenaar. As an improved version of it. And there's also something called NeoVim, which adds a little thing down here, and its plugin system is a little different. So, okay, anyway. So yeah, if you want to edit a file in our Unix server, our Linux server, or GNU plus Linux server, Vim, and then the file name. Okay? So Vim main.cc, and there you go. You should be looking at code that looks very close to this. Okay? You can use the arrow keys to move the cursor around, but what you might notice is that if you type a random key, the letters aren't appearing on the screen. And the reason for that is because Vim is different from your normal text editor. Normal text editors, like if I were to come over here, I could just type and like the text appears. Vim is different, and that's what makes Vim both special and awesome and incredibly powerful, but also a little bit hard for newbies. Okay, so when you type something, you just get a question mark. Screenshot it, Caesar. You should type vim main.cc like that. Don't do ed. Ed is how people edited text files in like the Stone Ages. You're using the same password as your username, but it's not working. Okay, let me resolve that 1 second. Okay, so let me hop back into main.cc, and there we go. So in order to use Vim, there's only a few commands you actually have to know. But the reason why Vim is weird and different and awesome is because it starts off in what's called command mode. And command mode means you're actually giving commands to the text editor. And so I can, for example, tell Vim to, don't use ed. Don't type ed. Oh, Lord. I should have even shown that on the screen. Control-C, Control-C. Don't. Ed is how people edited code before they had screens. Control-C, get out of that. You're stuck in ed. Yeah, if you thought the jokes about being stuck in Vim were bad, imagine being stuck in ed, which allows you to edit one line of text at a time. Okay, so watch. I'm in command mode right now. I can give Vim a command. For example, I could tell Vim to delete the next 3 words by saying D3W, and the next 3 words vanish. Okay? That's not something that you can do in like pretty much any other text editor. There's a text editor called Brief that I used for a while. It was pretty good. That also had kind of a command mode interface like that. I can copy the current line and paste it 9 times, for example. Did you see how fast that was? I'm not, yeah, it's just like that. And that's why you're hitting Control-C and it's not exiting. Okay, 1 second. So if you're in Vim and you hit colon, that actually brings up the ed prompt down there, and you can hit Q and quit out of Vim that way. So you're literally trapped in a 1970s era text program. Okay, cool. So yeah, so Vim by default you're in command mode, and there's a lot of commands. Every key on your keyboard means something in Vim. S means search and replace. So for example, if I wanted to search and replace the next 3 letters, I could say 3S, and I don't know, do that, and then I could hit dot and dot and dot and repeat the last command of substituting 3 characters. Like, it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And you do not need to know any of that power for now. For this class, all you need to know are 3 commands. Okay? And the 3 commands are how to get into insert mode so you can actually type things, how to get out of insert mode so you can quit, and how to quit. Save and quit. That's it. That's all you need to know for Vim for now. Okay? And you're like, well, why aren't we just using Notepad? Because trust me, Notepad sucks. Pico sucks. Nano sucks for doing coding. Vim is the way to go. It is the way, the truth, and the life. None shall do coding except through Vim. I don't know. Except through Vim. I don't know. Maybe a bit sacrilegious. Sorry. So, yeah. So there are 3 commands you need to know in Vim. Let me write them down over here on the right-hand side. And let's do this. Stop. Thank you. Go into insert mode. Escape. Go back into command mode and Shift-ZZ. Save and quit. These are the fundamental basics of using Vim. If you can do this, you can basically treat it just like Notepad and a text editor, and you'll be fine. Okay. So if I type I to go into insert mode, notice the bottom left corner of the screen here now says insert. I can now type things as if I was in every other word processor in the world. All right. So when you're in insert mode, you can print, you just type whatever you want, and it appears. But if you try saving and quitting by hitting Shift-ZZ, look, it doesn't work. You have to go back into command mode. And you go back into command mode by hitting escape, like that, and then Shift-ZZ to save and quit. Those are the 3 important commands in Vim. I allows you to edit the text. You can delete things, arrow key around, delete things. I puts you into insert mode so you can edit it like it's a normal text file. Escape to go back into command mode. Command mode allows you to do things like, say, I don't know, go back 3 words, delete 3 words, search for all cases of SDF. Like, command mode's got a lot of power for now. Right now, the only thing we're going to do from command mode is just go into insert mode. So you can type escape, go back into command mode, then save and quit, Shift-ZZ. Okay. Any questions about that? If you want to create a new text file, you can like Vim like Hamlet or something like that, and that'll create a new file called Hamlet. And so why don't you guys do that right now? Just create a new file called Hamlet or something like that, and just go ahead and type however many lines of Hamlet's soliloquy, the most famous soliloquy, the to be or not to be. Just go ahead and type 10 or 20 lines, whatever you remember from it. I haven't really studied it since high school, so to be or not to be, that is the question. It is nobler in mind to suffer this arrows outrageous to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them to die, to sleep no more. 'Tis a consummation devout to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Let's see. Death When we have shuffle offers, orbital coil must have us pause. True. Something or other. Well, something. The proud man's contumely, the pangs of love despise, that fear of something to death, undiscovered country from whose born no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us bear. There's lines in here that I forgot. It makes us bear. It's okay. Just type whatever you remember from it. It's fine. Makes us bear those ills we have rather than fly to others we know not of. Fartles there. Something. To grunt and sweat under a weary life. Something. When he himself might is quietus make fair vodka. Just as conscience make cowards of us all, whilst the enterprises of great merit. In this regard, their currents go awry, lose the name of action. Something like that. Okay. So you guys get the idea? Basically, I go into insert mode, just go ahead and type, however many lines of this soliloquy you remember off the top of your head. And then when you're done, escape, go back into command mode, Shift-CZ, and you're done. Okay? So go ahead and Control-ZZ. Yeah, Control-ZZ. Yeah, so if you hit Control-Z, it backgrounds. Control-Z and Control-S are like not good to hit. If you hit Control-Z, you'll get a suspended message, and you need to type FG to foreground it to get back into it. Okay. If you Control-Z and you try editing it again, you're going to get a warning that the file's already open. Okay, so if you do that, hit Q to quit out, and FG to foreground the thing that you backgrounded. Control-Z is like hitting the minimize button, right? It minimizes. And so FG unminimizes, and you're back in it. So is this what we're supposed to show after the command you said to do? Yeah, I mean, oh, you're recording a macro. Yeah, you hit Q. Don't hit Q in command mode. Q. Oh, I mean, you can, but like it's a little too advanced for you right now. Q records the macros. You can actually record your keystrokes and replay them back later. Yeah, for now, I just want you to just edit some text. Okay. All right. So everyone, please screenshot. However much of Hamlet you remembered off the top of your head, screenshot it. Go ahead and post it on Discord, and let me see just how much I forgot of it here. Hamlet soliloquy, was it 3? 4, Act 3, Act 4. No. Act 4. No. Oh, no, it is. It is. There we go. Fourth soliloquy. There we go. To be or not to be, that's a question. Troubles by posing and then deny to see no more. Ah! Yeah. Forgot that part there. There's respect that makes calamity of so long life. I think forgot that as well. Yeah. The oppressor is wrong. Yeah. Proud men's continually pangs of love despite does. The laws delay. The insolence office spurns the patient merit. But then worthy takes when he himself might his quietus make with bare body can to fartles bare garnets from life. Native hue of resolution is sickly to order the pale cast of thought. Ah, yeah. Sorry. My apologies. It's been a while. Okay. How do you screenshot again? Windows key, Shift S. Just show me that you can. Edit a file using Vim. Okay. I don't know the story to be or not to be. That's all I know, unfortunately. Whether it is another one. Yeah. Okay. Good enough. I just really want you to demonstrate your ability to just edit using Vim, because if you can't do that, you're gonna have a really hard time in this class. Oh, that's quite impressive. Yeah, unfortunately, you weren't getting the accurate version from me. I memorized it back in my senior year of high school, and it's kind of broken up in chunks and fragmented. When the sun go down, you go down. There. It's not letting you type. What is going on here? Did you mouse wheel, Jay? It looks like you probably mouse wheeled up and scrolled it up off the top of the screen. Something like that. So mouse wheel back down. If you mouse wheel up, you're going to see like the command prompt and things like that. Okay. You have to get used to not using the mouse at all. Almost. Good. So not allow me to write. What do you mean it not allow you to write? Did you type Vim? You're logged in, but like you need to type like Vim, like file name or something, like Hamlet or something. Yeah. Helmet. Then you're in Vim, and then you can write things. So Vim is the command, and then that is the file name, Helmet. I left Vim and tried going back in to edit this, and this came up. If you quit out, it will save a swap file for you. Like if you close PuTTY while you have Vim open, it'll save a swap file. So you probably want to hit R to recover it. And that'll bring back whatever it is you're gonna lose. Okay. You added Hamlet to the middle of your program. Okay. Yeah. You're probably gonna need to delete that out. All right. Insert bottom text. I don't know, Hamlet or something. Okay. I got here Caesar. Okay, so with that under our belts, that is basically how you edit a file. Vim, file name. I had to go into insert mode, type your stuff, escape to go back to command mode, CZ, shift CZ, save and quit. Okay. So now we are going to edit our program. Okay. So I want you to type vim main.cc from inside of your hello world directory. Okay. If you type vim main.cc from like your home directory, you're gonna get a blank file. Okay. You need to be in the right directory. There's main.cc right there. Press the The escape key isn't immediately doing anything. I'm supposed to enter ZC into the command thing, or do I directly press it? So when you are typing things, you type escape, the insert mode goes away. And then you hit Shift ZZ to save and quit. So Shift ZZ is the command mode command to save and quit out of Vim. There are more things than heaven and earth ratio than are dreamt of in your philosophy. That's good. And you commented it. Nice. Very nice. Hiroscope. Using it Mac. You probably want to use iTerm 2, seeing you have colors. Oh, huh. Now you do have colors. So you probably copied and pasted this into a text file, not a C++ file. Okay, you're fine. Right. It says in red there's one more file to edit. If it says that, then what you typed was something like this: vim main.cc hamlet, and you're editing two files at once. So if that's the case, :q or :wq, and then :q, I don't know. :n takes you to the next file. So :n takes you to the next file when you're in command mode if you've opened up multiple files like that. But you shouldn't be editing multiple files at once right now. Just it's a little too advanced. Just type in vim main.cc. That's it. Yep. Well, it is save and exit. It just, if you have multiple files open, then yeah, you'll see what you just saw there. Okay, so let's do this. Let's write our first computer science program. It's a tradition in computer science to do so, and it looks like this. I would like for all of you to write this. This is ENDL. That is an L, not a 1. Right? That's an L, not a 1. Okay? So edit your file called main.cc. Type in that line of code right there. That line of code there is how you print something to the screen using a computer program. Don't worry about the rest of it for now. I'll explain it in a little bit, what it means. But this is your first lesson. This is your first thing to know, which is how to print things to the screen. So it's got to be first, because you can't really do anything if you can't print anything to the screen. Because then how do you know if your program did anything? You know, you do some math and quit. It's like, okay, well, if you don't print it out, like how do you know? How do you know you did something? So make sure you type it exactly. Make sure that you have the semicolon at the end of the line. The semicolon means the end of the statement, I guess. In C++, pretty much everything ends in a semicolon. Every statement ends in a semicolon, basically. Cout stands for the console output, which means it's going to print to the screen the words hello world. The double left arrows mean that the word hello, well, the string hello world is flowing into the console output. Alright. CD hello world, Vim helmet. That was a joke. You're not supposed to actually spell it helmet. But yeah, you got a blank file there, so just type something. Hit I to go into insert mode. Type something, escape, Shift CZ, save and quit. Just so you can understand how Vim works. This is the Vim cheat sheet here. Okay. So these are the Unix commands. Anything you see with a double slash on it, like this, is something called a comment. comments are ignored by the compiler. They're essentially just discarded. Anything that starts with a // like this is just documentation, just words from a human just saying, hey, this is what this thing does. They're ignored by the computer. They don't do anything. Okay. Let's see. What else should we say here while you guys are typing that? When you write a program, you're writing a program in text. Okay, so you're using a text editor called Vim to write a text program. And then in order for it to run, though, it needs to become a program. And a program is not text, usually. It can be, I guess. And so the process of going from a text file to an actual executable program is called compilation. And we have what's called a compiler on the computer. And the compiler takes your text file and checks it for errors. And if there's an error, it'll give you an error and quit. If it's successful, then it produces the executable. And I'm going to show you in just 1 second how to do that. Does everybody have what they think is a working copy of this text in the right place, in the right file? All right, one person. I believe so. All right, let's find out. All right. So hit escape, shift ZZ, and we've now saved and quit, and we're back in our hello world directory again. Okay. All right. Here is the next important command, and there's only one more after this, and then we're done. This way. And the command that we're going to use to compile our code is called compile. This is not a standard program. This is not something you will see anywhere else, really. This is a program, it's a shell script technically. It's a program that I wrote that does 3 things. And it's designed for you guys specifically in C Sci 40. It does 3 things. It first runs a checker that I wrote with my students 6 years ago, called Easy Peasy. And Easy Peasy checks your program for the 30 most common mistakes that new programmers make. So experienced programmers probably wouldn't benefit as much from using it, because a lot of things that experienced people do, like, they're like, I know. But like, Easy Peasy checks your code for like a lot of really common mistakes, especially in C Sci 40. And then there is a second checking program that gets run. It's a tool by Google, by their C++ team called Cpp Check, C++ Check. And that checks your code for mistakes they see commonly. And then the third thing it does is it compiles your code and generates an executable. And if everything goes well, that's what you see. And this is what you see if your code was correct. And if you type ls now, you will see that there is now a program in your directory called a.out. Why a.out? Well, back in the 1970s or 80s or something, there was a file format called a.out, and for whatever reason, if you compiled a program and didn't give it a name, they just decided, yeah, we'll just give it the name a.out. And so that is the generic default name for an executable in Unix-like systems. So if you compile something without telling the compiler what name to give it, it gives it the name a.out. There you go. And so, does it mean anything? Not really. It's just, you didn't give it a name, so we're naming it a.out. All right. So that's what you see if it went right. Now, what if you didn't do it right? What if you forgot a semicolon? Okay. If you forgot a semicolon, you try compiling it, then Easy Peasy will be like, you've entered a line of code without a semicolon. Semicolon is required. Okay. What if you put a 1 here instead of an L, which like a bunch of people did in the in-person section. That's why I made the note here. Well, it will give you an error. Error. End1 was not declared in the scope, and it tells you right there, line 6, that's the thing that's bad. Little tilde caret thing here. That's the problem right there. Okay? And then let's say you don't understand this. Let's say you get this error message and you don't understand what it's trying to tell you. That's fair. The error messages you get in this class will probably baffle you until you get some experience under your belt. It's just the way of the beast, you know. Like, one of the things you learn when you're a computer science major is just deciphering error messages and, like, trying to figure out what the hell it's trying to tell you. And in this case, what it's trying to tell you is that end1, it thinks is a variable, but you never made a variable called end1, and so it's saying the current scope, the part of code you're in, I thought you made a variable called end1, and there isn't one, and that's what it's trying to tell you. A better error message would be like, did you mean to say end line? What's the difference between CC and CCP? The China Communist Party? CPP. Main.cc, main.cpp. Exactly the same. What about main.cxx? Exactly the same. What about main.capital C? Exactly the same. There's like 17 different there's like 17 different file name extensions for C++. I like CC because it's easier to type. Right? You can type main.cc faster than you type cpp. And it's less typing too. A lot of people prefer main.cpp because it has a 3-letter extension, which on Windows, in the Windows world, they typically tend to enforce the Microsoft DOS file name convention with 3 letters indicating the file type. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, good question. Good question, Hernandez. Okay. So you guys all get that? It seems like I got the Vim command mixed up and named my Hamlet file name. How do I change the name of a file? Move Hamlet to file name. Move file name to Hamlet. So mv is the Unix command to rename a file. Move. What do we need to input to see if it is correct? So you need to type this. All right. Let's do different colors here. There. Yeah, it's not very readable. So here are the 5 different Unix commands you need to know, and there's only one more, I promise, and the final one is just a.out. Run yo program. All right. Bright red. There you go. So if you have successfully completed all these things, type a.out, and you will see that your program runs, and it prints out hello world. This is it for the entire class, okay? With what you see on the right-hand side of the screen here is everything you need to know on the Unix side of things, and down below are everything you need to know on the Vim side of things. That's it. So it's a bit of a learning curve, I admit, but at the same time, that's actually all there is to it. There is much, much more to get into. Unix is incredible, Vim is incredible, but that's all you need for this class. And that's why we spend an entire day-to-day working on it, is just so that you need to do this. And the announcements, I said to do the Unix tutorial. Surrey University in the UK somewhere has a Unix tutorial. And it's one of those things, right? Like whenever a professor says something's optional, like students go, okay, I'm not going to do it then. All right. But like, trust me on this. Trust me on this. The more Unix you know, the better off your life will be. Not just this class, the better off your life will be. If you are going to be working in the technical world, your Unix knowledge will rise you up. Okay? Quite literally. It will make you taller and stronger and more physically fit. So go through the tutorial here. Trust me on this. You're like, oh, it'll take an hour of my life. Yeah. Do you know how many hours of your life it will save? It will save you hundreds of thousands of hours, maybe, of your life over the span of your life by just spending an hour now. So do it or not. It's up to you. But like, it's a really good idea because everything you're doing in this class and the next class and the next class and the next class are all going to be on Unix. And when you go to a 4-year, a lot of that's on Unix, and when you work in the professional world, that's on Unix. So learn it. It's good for you. It's like, can you show me how to rename the file again? Sure. It's right here. So you move from one file to one file name to another file name. That's how you rename a file. To compile, you don't need to run easy peasy directly. You just say compile main.cc. And that will compile your program. And then you need to run it by typing a.out. Or just a for short, if you want. There's an alias for it. And that runs your program. Okay. CP copies a file. Move moves a file. Yeah, so once you guys have done that, then I'd like for you to maybe add a couple more lines of outputting. This is how you output something in C++. So, maybe add a few more lines, right? Hello world, but the world never says hello back, so you say goodbye world, world, I don't know. Hello. Okay. Do something like that. I want you to print multiple lines. And what you'll see is that in a C++ program, the first line of code that runs is the first line in main. Okay. So you can have a lot of stuff in a text file, but what it's looking for is a thing called main, and that is the starting point of your program. So main is like where your program begins. Okay. And the first line of main is the first line that runs. After it runs it, then it runs the second line. And after that runs, it runs the third line. And after that runs, it runs the fourth line. Okay? So it says your easy peasy pre-check failed. All right, let's take a look at this. Become Romero. I'm just going to guess which one you are. Oh, you're not that one. Okay. You're probably that one. Okay. ZZ was not declared in the scope. Yeah, you're not supposed to. Yeah. Yeah, you have to go. That's why you have to go back into command mode first. Okay. So you have to, when you're in insert mode, you're typing. Shift-ZZ doesn't let you out until you're back into command mode. Okay. So don't have ZZs just lying around your code. All right. Boom. So try doing multiple lines of outputting things. See if you can get this going when you compile it. Compile main.cc. You run it. You can see that it does in fact print hello world, goodbye world, hello hello hello, world world world. I will explain what's going on here while you guys are doing that, and please screenshot your code working with multiple, multiple things being printed out. The very first thing to learn in computer science, whenever I learn a new language, is how to print things to the screen. Because if you can't see anything that your program's doing, it's not a very interesting or useful program. Hello world, goodbye world, XXXXXX. I assume that's what you wanted it to say. Good. How do you copy a line? I haven't told you how yet. But for now, I just want you to type it again a second time because it'll help ingrain that into your memory. There's not a whole lot of memorization in computer science, but there's a little bit of memorization in computer science. And so all the things that you see on the screen here, you're going to need to probably have memorized by about week 3 or so. And so just typing this over and over again is good for you. But if you really want to be cool, YY copies a line and P pastes it. And if you want to paste it, multiple times, YY 7P, and there's 7 copies of it that are made. And I got into an argument with somebody on Reddit because, anytime you have tech people online, they'll argue over the stupidest things. But fortunately, in this case, I was right and he was wrong. And he said that he doesn't mind, he doesn't see the benefit of taking the time and effort of learning Vim because he can just always just type it all by hand, And I'm like, that's really dumb. I don't want to type this by I don't want to type anything by hand that I don't need to, right? So, if I wanted to do, I don't know, what did we do in the previous class? Justice is cool. Something like that. Right? If I wanted to do this for a bunch of different students, I don't want to type cout, double left arrow, Bencourt is cool. Bencourt's the guy that posts all the memes, of course. And then cout, double left arrow, was I'm already getting carpal tunnel doing that. I don't want to do that. But this guy's like, I don't want to type it. I don't see what the benefit is of C++. Yeah, okay. All right. Watch. Okay. Just watch. Okay. What else do we have in this class? What else do we got here? Right. So I didn't have to retype all of that stuff, right? All the cout, double left arrow kind of stuff. I don't have to type any of that. All I did was have to retype the middle part, and I could copy and paste it and delete things super fast, it just kills me when I see people do this. I'm like, why are you walking in quicksand? You know what I mean? It's just, it just drives me crazy, when you just be like, oh, you need to delete 3 words, D3W, done, whatever, move on with your life, So, yeah, like I said, nobody who knows Vim would ever consider using anything else. It's so much faster at doing all this kind of stuff. Okay, so, DW for one word, yeah. DW is my bread and butter for deleting things. It's what I was doing there, I'd be like there, and there, and there, right? If you type a.out and if you type a.out and it says command not found, that means your code's probably not compiling, right? So if you say compile main.cc, then it'll work. So make sure you're compiling it too. Don't forget to compile. If you forget to compile, You're gonna have a bad time. And so these three commands here, this is like this is your workflow. You're going to be doing these three commands over and over and over again in this class. You're going to edit the file. You're going to compile it. Oh, it didn't compile. Go back, edit it, fix it, compile it. Oh, it didn't compile. Go back, edit it, fix it, compile. Oh, it worked. Run it. Oh, it's not right. Go back and edit it, compile it, run it, edit it, compile it, run it. You're going to be doing these three things over and over again. You're going to be doing it thousands of times this semester. These three commands right here: edit the file name, compile the file name, and maybe we'll color that too so that people don't forget it. And a.out are the three commands you're going to be running over and over and over again. Color that in there. Okay, good. Okay. And when you're inside of Vim, the three things you have to know in Vim are I to go into insert mode, escape to go back into command mode, and Shift-CZ to save and quit. So, yep. Don't worry about it. We all forget. Okay. So, it's quite common for people like, man, I edited my file and then I run a.out again and it's not showing the difference. Well, did you remember to compile? No? Oh, yeah. We've all been there. It's normal. Okay, so let's explain some of the rest of the stuff here. Got a few minutes left. So what's going on? This is a C++ program. C++ is kind of the granddaddy. It's kind of the cranky old, somewhat senile, but still kind of cool and hip granddaddy of most computer languages out there today. C++ was made by my boy, Bjarne Stroustrup, who took the C programming language, which was invented by Kernighan and Ritchie in the 1970s. And Stroustrup in the late 70s, early 80s developed C++ as a better version of C, and it is. And then languages like Java and C# evolved out of C++. It's a very good language to learn. It has sort of an unfair reputation of being hard to learn. That said, there are some sharp edges, and the reason why the mascot of C++ is a rat with his foot blown off is because C++ does have quite a lot of what are called foot guns, which is you shoot yourself in the foot with them. So it is the granddaddy, the grandpappy of programming languages. It is, however, a somewhat irascible and somewhat short-tempered grandfather. I don't know. But it's a very good language to learn, and I would actually recommend that all beginning programmers learn C++. I think it's the right one to start with, honestly, if you're a computer science major. If you're not a computer science major, if you're a physics major, or if you're a data science major, probably Python's a better language to start with. But I think for computer science majors, C++ is hands down the best one to learn. Okay, so let's take it from the top and explain what's going on here. So I think you can all guess that this line of code here prints Voss is cool to the screen, right? You guys all understand that? Cout stands for the console out. This is the console here. So the console out gets the words Voss is cool. The arrows kind of indicate the words are flying into the screen. You can think of this as the screen there, the console. And inline means like you hit the enter key. So and ENDL you can think of as hitting enter. Okay. If you do not have that there, if you don't have the end line there, then you will see that there is no enter key between one line and the next. All right, what else? So this thing here is what allows you to use cout. Cout is actually not part of the core language itself. It's part of what's called the standard library. Maybe the difference right now is academic. But if I were to delete this line here, then these lines would not compile because cout is found within this header file here called iostream. Okay. And using namespace standard allows you to write your code a little bit more cleanly. This is actually quite controversial, right? If you go onto Reddit, you'll see most people disagree with me on this. They're, however, wrong. But I do admit that I am in the minority on this. So let me show you what this code would look like without using namespace std. It would look like this. Let's see here. Okay, so you would have to have an std : and you might see this in Zybooks, by the way, and that's why I'm kind of showing it to you right now. Cout is part of what's called the standard library, and that's why you see it's called std : cout and std : inline. And oh look, the power of Vim. Oh look at that. Oh look, one hand. Oh, look, I'm refactoring my code. I would just type it. I would just type each one of those. It doesn't bother me. It's just 10 lines of code and 5 letters twice on each line. It doesn't bother me. It'd take me 5 minutes. It doesn't bother me. Oh Lord. This is why I use Vim. Okay, that's why I use Vim. And so this is how what you see here on the screen is how like most professional programmers would prefer writing their code. I personally don't like it. I don't like STDs in my code. They do. So just be aware that there is kind of an ongoing controversy about the use of STDs in code. This code's exactly the same. It makes absolutely no difference. This code and this code are identical, but to me it looks better this way. To a lot of people, they like it the other way. It's just one of those debates that goes on forever without a clear winner, even though I'm right. And then at the bottom of the screen here, so main indicates the entry point into your program. This is where your program begins. And then that's the first line of code, and then after that runs, the second line of code runs, then after that, the third line of code runs, and after that, the fourth line of code runs. And when we get down to the end here, to the return, that quits back out. Technically, you don't need that. Zybooks, I'm not sure if Zybooks realizes that. Zybooks will put the return 0 in on your textbook, but it's technically optional. If you don't put in a return 0 there, 1 will be put for you. So this is a perfectly valid C++ code here. And the curly brace is the everything between the open and the closed curly brace is main. So everything, this indicates sort of the beginning of main right here, and then this down here is the end of main, and that's main. It's between the open and closed curly brace. That's something called a scope. Okay. So, yep, that's about it for today. You have a homework assignment. The Zybooks, get cracking on that. I moved the deadline on that back to next Friday because some people are having issues getting their textbook funds in and things like that. So make sure you do the Zybooks by next Friday. Even if you don't have money right now, you can sign up for a 2-week trial of the Zybooks. And if you do that, Mincorelli promises that it won't lose your work. I've seen people lose their work before when they're doing trials. I don't know if they were just like not logged in or something. But yeah, basically, let me just show you on Canvas. I don't have to describe it. So what you're going to do is on Canvas, CSI 40. Here's your first homework assignment right here. Week 1 Zybooks. And you're just going to click on that. And it's going to click on that. It's going to take you right into the homework assignment. And it's basically all of Chapter 1 in Zybooks. And it's going to explain to you, this is like a super basic overview of programming. It's got like little illustrations and questions and answers and things like that. And as you do it, as you answer these questions, it will report the your score back into Canvas. So right now, if you check on Canvas, it'll show you having a 0 for the Zybooks, unless you've done it. And a lot of students are like, "Oh, why did I get a 0?" It's not. It's a live score. Okay, it's not graded. It's not like you've had a 0 entered for eternity. It's a live score. It's a live reporting of your current score on it. As you do things on Zybooks, that score in Canvas automatically updates. It's what's called an LMS integration. So Canvas is constantly talking to Zybooks, and Zybooks is like, yo, Messick has 10 points right now, and then it'll just update in the grade book. And so it's, always a live recording of your grade. And I changed I moved the deadline from Monday to Friday. That sometimes breaks the LMS integration. If that happens, then I'll just have to punch the grades in manually. But let me know if that happens. But it should just automatically update for most of the Zybooks this semester. It'll just automatically update your grade, and so you can always just kind of see how much more you need to do on the Zybooks. Min Corelli has said that he will do a Zybooks review session or something like that. Is he here right now? I don't think he's actually live right now. But Min Corelli said that he will take questions on the Zybooks and maybe put together a video review for the harder Zybooks problems and things like that. The big the big programming assignment for Zybooks for week 1 is 3 lines of code. So I don't see that as being particularly troublesome for most of you. Let's see down here. One large program. Yeah, so you need to see out to the screen, step 1 complete, and save it, compile it, run it. So you type it in here, see out. Is it step 1 complete? You can copy and paste, save some time. See out, complete. And then you hit submit, run. Takes a little while. And then it'll give you 4 points. And then you have it see out step 2 as well. And that gives you 3 points. And then you see out all steps now complete, and that's another 3 points. And now you get 100% on the big assignment. It's literally 3 see outs. You should be able to do it with what you learned today. It's really there just to teach you this, which I will zoom in on because it's so important. And then I'll log off because we're already over time. A lot of programmers try to write all of their code at once, and it almost always results in a giant train wreck of a mess. When you're doing coding, when you're doing development, you always want to write a few lines of code at a time and save it and compile it and run it and test it. Be like, all right, that didn't work. Let me fix it. You do it again. You do it again. You do it again until you get it working perfectly. Then you move on to the next 3 or 4 lines of code. And then you save it and test it and compile it and get the next 3 or 4 lines of code working. You always want to be working on just a little tiny itsy bitsy bit of code at a time and be 100% certain that that code is correct before you move on to the next one. And that's all the one large program is trying to teach you. It should be 25 minutes. You arguably can do this in one go, but it's trying to teach you to compile and test it and run it and gather more points and gather more points. Okay, that's the lesson it's trying to teach you here. It's a good lesson. Okay, so that is your Zybooks. It'll be due next Friday. That's it. So this I will post these notes onto Discord so that you have a record of all of the commands, and let's do that right now. Then I will see you guys on. There we go. I'll see you guys on Friday, 2:30.